My name is Rachel. I'm 34 years old. He rolled his eyes, told me to stop being insecure, and laughed in his lap like I wasn't even there. I nodded once and disappeared from the party. Hours later, he was outside my house crying, calling my name after finding out why I hadn't followed him. I'm 34, and I thought I knew what love looked like. We'd been together for 3.5 years, living together for the last 18 months in what I genuinely believed was a solid relationship. Sure, we had our issues. Who doesn't? But I trusted him. That was my first mistake. The party was at his best friend's place last Saturday, one of those casual gatherings that starts at 7 and somehow turns into a full house by 9. I wasn't particularly excited about going, but he'd been talking about it all week, so I showed up like a supportive partner does. We got there around 8. The place was already packed with his friends, co-workers, and people I'd never met. He immediately gravitated toward his work crowd, which was fine. I grabbed a beer and made small talk with a few people I recognized from previous gatherings. Nothing felt off at first. Around 9:30, I went looking for him. I found him in the living room, sitting on the armrest of the couch. And there she was, his coworker. The one he'd mentioned a few times over the past couple of months. Always casual mentions. She's hilarious. Or she really gets my sense of humor at work. Never anything that set off alarms until I saw them together. He was leaning into her, laughing at something on her phone. His hand was on her shoulder, not just resting there, but gripping it, familiar and comfortable. As I watched, he actually slid down from the armrest into her lap for a second, adjusting his position while still focused on whatever they were looking at. I walked over. Hey. He glanced up, slightly annoyed at the interruption. Oh, hey. What's up? Just checking on you. You've been over here a while. We're just looking at some work stuff, he said, holding up her phone like that explained everything. It's funny. You wouldn't get it. Right, I said slowly. Can I talk to you for a second? Privately. He rolled his eyes. Actually rolled his eyes. Then stood up. Sure. Excuse me, he said to her, with this apologetic smile that made my stomach turn. We stepped into the hallway, away from the music and conversation. The walls were thin enough that I could still hear people laughing in the living room, completely oblivious to what was about to unfold. What's going on? I asked, keeping my voice level. What do you mean? You were sitting in her lap. Oh my God, I was not. You were. I sat on the armrest and slipped for a second. Stop being insecure. That word. Insecure. Like my valid observation was somehow a character flaw I needed to work on. I'm not being insecure, I said. I'm watching my boyfriend be all over some woman. All over? He laughed, but it wasn't a nice laugh. It was dismissive, condescending. We were looking at a meme. You're making something out of nothing. Am I? Yes, and honestly, it's embarrassing. Everyone can see how jealous you're acting. I stood there for a moment, just looking at him. The defensiveness, the deflection, the way he made me feel crazy for noticing what I was clearly seeing. You know what? I said quietly. You're right. I'm being ridiculous. He looked relieved. Thank you. Can we just go back and enjoy the party? Sure, I said. You go ahead. I'm going to grab another drink. He went back into the living room. I watched him sit back down next to her, immediately leaning in close again, resuming whatever conversation I'd interrupted. He didn't look back at me once. I set my beer down on the kitchen counter and walked out the front door. I didn't say goodbye to anyone. I just left. I drove home in complete silence. No music, no podcasts, just the sound of my thoughts getting louder with every mile. My phone started buzzing around 10:15. I didn't look at it. When I got home, I did something I'd never done before. I went to his laptop, the one he leaves open on the dining table because he has nothing to hide. I opened his message app, which was still logged in. I found their conversation thread immediately. It went back 4 months. 4 months. At first, it was work stuff, then inside jokes, then complaints about me. She's been so distant lately. She doesn't get my humor anymore. The kind of things you say when you're building a narrative to justify what comes next. And what came next was exactly what I suspected. Plans to meet up for lunch that he never mentioned to me. Late-night conversations that happened after I went to bed. Photos he sent her that he never posted publicly. Nothing explicit, but intimate in a way that made my stomach turn. One message from 3 weeks ago stood out. Sometimes I wonder what it would be like if we'd met first. Her response, we still could find out. His reply, LOL maybe. Not now. I have a girlfriend. Just maybe. With a laughing emoji, like it was all some harmless hypothetical. I took photos of everything with my phone and sent them to my email. Then I closed the laptop and sat in the dark living room, waiting. By the time I checked my phone, I had 15 missed calls and about 30 texts. They started concerned, then confused, then angry. Where did you go? Hello? This is so immature. Everyone is asking where you are. You're embarrassing me. Fine, I'll get a ride home from someone else. That last message came through at 11:20. I didn't respond to any of them. At 12:47 a.m., I heard a car pull up outside. Voices. His laugh. That same laugh from earlier. I looked out the window and saw her. She'd driven him home. They sat in the car for almost 10 minutes. I watched them talk, watched him touch her arm, watched her lean in close. Then he got out, waved, and she drove off. He came in through the front door, saw me sitting in the dark living room, and jumped. Jesus, you scared me. Why are you sitting in the dark? Waiting for you. Why didn't you answer your phone? I was worried. Were you? He frowned at my tone. What's your problem? You tell me. How was the ride home? It was fine. She was nice enough to drive me since you abandoned me. Abandoned you? I repeated. That's an interesting way to describe leaving a party where my boyfriend was sitting in another woman's lap. Oh my God, we're back to this. I already explained. I saw the messages. He froze, completely. His face went pale in the dim light from the hallway. What? The messages, all of them, 4 months of them. You went through my phone? Your laptop, it was open. And before you try to make this about me invading your privacy, let's talk about you emotionally cheating on me for 4 months. I haven't been cheating, he said quickly. Sometimes I wonder what it would be like if we'd met first, I quoted. Her response was, we still could find out. And your response? LOL, maybe. Want to explain that? He just stood there, mouth opening and closing. Or how about the lunch dates you never mentioned, I continued. The late night conversations? The photos you sent her that I never saw? Those were just friendly. Don't, I cut him off. Don't insult my intelligence more than you already have. You've been building something with her for months while coming home to me every night and acting like everything was fine. He tried to sit down, but I held up my hand. I don't want to hear excuses right now, I said. I want you to pack a bag and leave. What? He said, genuinely shocked. Rachel, this is my home too. You can come back tomorrow when I'm not here to get the rest of your stuff, I said. But tonight, you need to leave. Where am I supposed to go? Call her, I said. I'm sure she'll be happy to help. His face crumpled. Please, let's just talk about this. I made a mistake. A 4-month mistake, I said, and one you were still making tonight while I was standing right there. Nothing physical happened, he said desperately. I don't care, I said. You gave her everything that mattered, the intimacy, the emotional connection, the part of you that used to be mine. Whether you slept with her or not is irrelevant. I love you, he said, tears streaming now. I know I messed up, but I love you. You don't love me, I said flatly. You love the stability I provide while you explore your options. And that's done now. Please, he begged. We can work through this. We can go to counseling. I'm not interested in counseling, I said. I'm interested in you packing a bag and leaving my house. He stood there crying for another minute, then finally went to the bedroom. I heard drawers opening, clothes rustling. 15 minutes later, he came out with a duffel bag. Mascara streaked down his face. This isn't over, he said. Yes, it is, I replied. He left, and I locked the door behind him. Then I sat back down in the dark and finally let myself feel everything I'd been holding back. 5 minutes later, my phone started ringing. I blocked his number. Then came the text from a different number, probably borrowed from someone at the party. Please talk to me. I'm sorry. I'll do anything. I ended it with her. Please. I blocked that number too. Sunday morning came with more blocked numbers trying to reach me. His friends, his mom, even her. The audacity of her trying to contact me was something else. Around noon, I heard knocking at the door, then the doorbell, then his voice. I know you're in there. Please, we need to talk. I didn't answer. I'm not leaving until you talk to me. I opened the door. He looked terrible. Same clothes from last night, eyes puffy and red. What do you want? I asked. I want to explain. There's nothing to explain. I saw everything. I know everything. You don't know everything, he insisted. You don't know that it was just emotional, that nothing physical ever happened, that I was confused and made stupid decisions but never stopped loving you. Do you hear yourself? I asked. You're trying to minimize months of betrayal by saying you didn't physically cheat, like that makes it better. It does make it better, he said. It means we didn't cross that line. You crossed every line that mattered, I said. You built a relationship with her. You shared things with her that you should have shared with me. You complained about me to her, creating this narrative where I was the problem so you could justify getting closer to her. That's not... He doesn't get my humor anymore, I quoted. Remember writing that? Because I remember reading it. You poisoned her against me, poisoned yourself against me. all so you could feel better about what you were doing. He had no response to that. I loved you, I continued. I trusted you completely. And you spent 4 months lying to my face while building something with someone else. Then when I noticed and said something, you called me insecure. You made me feel crazy for seeing what was right in front of me. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm sure you are, I said. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry you have to face consequences, but you're not sorry for what you did. Because if you were, you would have stopped months ago. That's not fair. You know what's not fair, I said. Sitting in another woman's lap at a party while your girlfriend watches. Letting that same woman drive you home and sitting in her car for 10 minutes while your girlfriend waits inside wondering if you're going to kiss her. You know what's not fair? Everything you've done for the past 4 months. He broke down completely, sobbing so hard he could barely stand. Part of me wanted to comfort him. 3.5 years of habit don't disappear overnight, but the rest of me knew this was necessary. I need you to leave, I said quietly. Get your stuff when I'm not here. I'll text you times you can come by. But we're done. Please. We're done, I repeated firmly. I closed the door and locked it. He stayed outside, crying for another 20 minutes before finally leaving. The next week was a blur of blocked numbers and ignored emails. He tried everything. Apologies, promises to change, threats to show up at my work, guilt trips about how much he was suffering. I stayed firm. I gave him specific times to get his stuff. I made sure I wasn't there when he came by. I left his things packed in boxes by the door, so he wouldn't have an excuse to linger. My friends rallied around me. The ones who'd met him weren't surprised. Apparently, several of them had noticed how he acted around his coworker at previous gatherings. They just hadn't wanted to say anything without proof. We didn't want to start drama if it was nothing, one friend said. I get it, I replied, though part of me wished someone had said something sooner. A mutual friend who'd been at the party called me Thursday night. I heard what happened. I'm sorry, Rachel. Thanks. For what it's worth, everyone noticed how he was acting that night. It was uncomfortable to watch. Then why didn't anyone say anything? What were we supposed to say? Your boyfriend is being inappropriate? You were there. You saw it yourself. She had a point. There's more, she said hesitantly. After you left, they stayed at the party for another hour. Then they left together. I know, I said. She drove him home. No, she corrected gently. I mean they left together. Like, made a point of leaving at the same time. Everyone noticed. That detail sat heavy in my stomach. The performance of it. The public nature of their connection. Did anything happen after I left? I asked. Not that I saw, but the vibe was definitely there. A few people mentioned it after they left. Great. So I was the talk of the party. The oblivious girlfriend who didn't see what everyone else saw. Except I had seen it. I just had the audacity to mention it, and he made me feel crazy for it. 2 weeks after the party, I was finally starting to feel normal again. Not good, but functional. Work helped. It kept my mind occupied during the day. The gym helped too. Physical exhaustion made it easier to sleep. Then I ran into her, his coworker. She was at a coffee shop near my apartment. We made eye contact. She looked like she wanted to disappear. I walked over anyway. We should talk, I said. She hesitated, then nodded. Okay. We sat down across from each other. Did you sleep with him? I asked. What? No, she said quickly. I swear nothing physical happened. But you wanted it to, I said. She didn't deny it. It's complicated, she said. No, I replied. It's not. He had a girlfriend. You knew he had a girlfriend, and you pursued him anyway. He pursued me too, she said defensively. It wasn't one-sided. I'm sure it wasn't, I said. But you're the one who responded we still could find out, instead of shutting it down. She sighed. I liked him. I thought maybe he was unhappy with you, that maybe we had something real. She laughed bitterly. Now I realize he's a mess. I raised an eyebrow. After you two broke up, he got really intense, she continued. Wanted to jump straight into a relationship, started talking about moving in together, about how we could finally be open about our connection, and I realized I didn't actually want that. So you helped destroy my relationship for nothing, I said. I'm sorry, she said quietly, and she sounded sincere. I really am. I was selfish and stupid. I didn't think about the damage I was causing. No, I said, you didn't. For what it's worth, she added, you deserve better. He talked about you like you were boring, like you didn't appreciate him, but from what I saw, you were just stable and reliable, and he confused that with being taken for granted. Thanks, I said, I guess. We sat in awkward silence for a moment. He's been texting me again, she admitted, begging me to reconsider. I've been ignoring him. Good, I said, keep ignoring him. I will. She stood up. I'm sorry, Rachel. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I am. She left, and I sat there with my coffee, feeling a strange mix of vindication and sadness. The whole thing felt surreal, sitting in a coffee shop on a Tuesday afternoon, discussing the wreckage of my relationship with the woman who helped destroy it. I finished my coffee slowly, watching people come and go. Couples holding hands, friends laughing together, people living their normal lives while mine had been turned upside down. But I wasn't drowning anymore. I was treading water, and that was progress. It's been 6 weeks since the party. I'm doing better. Not great, but better. He tried contacting me one more time about 2 weeks ago. A long email about how he'd learned and grown, about how he understood now what he'd thrown away, about how he'd give anything for another chance. I read it once, then I deleted it and blocked his email address. I heard through the grapevine that he's struggling, lost some friends who sided with me, got a reputation at work for being unprofessional, tried dating a few people, but nothing stuck. Part of me feels bad for him, a small part. The rest of me knows he created this situation and now has to live with the consequences. I've been on a couple of dates, nothing serious. I'm not rushing into anything. 3.5 years with someone who betrayed me taught me to take my time, to watch for red flags, to trust my gut when something feels off. The hardest part is accepting that I'll never know when it really started to go wrong. Was it before her? Was she just the symptom of a larger problem? Did he ever really love me the way I loved him? I don't have those answers, and I'm learning to be okay with that. What I do know is this: when someone shows you who they are, believe them. When your gut tells you something is wrong, listen. And when someone tries to make you feel crazy for noticing reality, that's not love. That's manipulation. That night at the party, when he rolled his eyes and told me to stop being insecure while sitting in another woman's lap, he showed me exactly who he was. I just wish I'd walked away right then instead of trying to talk to him first. But I did walk away, eventually, and I haven't looked back. Life goes on. That's what they don't tell you about heartbreak. It feels permanent when you're in it, but it's not. One day you wake up and realize you're okay. Different, maybe. More cautious. Definitely. But okay. And okay is enough to build.